Hello, Nicole. Thank you for being here with me and to do this interview about you, about this woman who somehow has a story to share with other people in order to transform or to empower other people to empower themselves on their process in their journey of healing or transformation or evolution. So I really appreciate your time, and yes, I'm curious about what is the story that you will share with us about your process, about your journey on this life.
Okay. Well, thank you for this interview and this opportunity. And I didn't really, I don't know what I would say or talk about, but what's coming to talk about is actually my first encounters with possibility management and how that differed from everything else that I had done before, and how it sort of informs what I'm doing now, as well as other things. And I've been curious about alternative healing modalities, and I had been curious about alternative healing modalities for several years before I was invited to an Expand the Box, a possibility management training. And just something really big lit up and touched me that I hadn't accessed before. And it was this knowing myself. And I just was ecstatic to get, I knew that I had just opened a doorway to really get to know myself. And that was so exciting for me. And, prior to that, I had done family constellations, and I had done, Reiki and a lot of other healing modalities. And I still love them all, but there's something about the authenticity that possibility management, can bring. And this, it's so real. And it's not, I feel like everything else, if I hadn't come into contact with possibility management, everything else would be sort of ungrounded and sort of fluff. And now that I have possibility management, it's I can use those other tools that I used to use, whether it's Reiki or quantum healing and family constellations. But it just, I don't know, they just feel more real now. I can, they feel more grounded into myself. Before, it just felt like it was something that was happening out there and that I didn't have authority over. I don't know how else to explain it.
And it's kind of, let me just ask you one thing, because I'm curious. It was kind of, it's something that out there, it was, and you're talking about grounding, but it was also something that was kind of maybe going into some specific body, and this connects you through all 5 bodies. I mean, can you go a little bit deeper on this?
I don't know if I would describe it like that. Let me see.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's another thing.
It has to do with authority. I think it has to do with, I started discovering my own, in discovering myself, I started discovering my own authority. And somehow that connection with myself, then, it just affects how I interact with everything, including these other modalities that I was doing. And so it's just almost I can integrate them more deeply in myself. But and I don't know how else to explain it, but I think it has to do with authority, not necessarily just the bodies. I was taking ownership of everything now,
Okay. And can you tell us a story about, how this authority changes or changed anything in, the way you see yourself before, or something related to a symptom or something? it changed?
Well, I remember coming back from my first lab. So I went to my first training, and then like in 2 years I ended up going. I went to probably 13 trainings in 2 years. I dove in. There were two trainers, Patricio Diaz and Jennifer Dominguez, that were in Miami, and they were just doing ETBs and labs like every other month. So I literally went to like 13 trainings in 2 years. And I will say that after my first lab, like something that I just remember so clearly was I was homeschooling my children at the time, and also a couple of other kids. And when I came back to homeschooling, totally liquid state, but I just had like, I was the sword. I didn't have to use my sword. Like, I was my sword. And I just remember walking through my house and feeling like a sword. And when I would say something to my children, there was no need to raise my voice or, give explanations or anything. Like, I just remember like I commanded attention with being this sword. And it was very felt in the space, especially by children. And even my father, like, he really noticed a change in me, and he just hugged me and, told me how valuable I was. And like, he was just observing everything, and he didn't explain it, I guess, but I could sense that he was feeling the changes that were happening in me. So yeah, it's like, just as I keep this work alive in me, just people, just notice different things about me, and like how I can, like the courage that I have, or that I've uncovered, in the process of, discovering more of myself, and also just not following the same rules that everybody else follows, like really defying the norms, the accepted social norms. Yeah.
Good. Seems really interesting. And of course, I didn't know you before, and now I see exactly that sword in you. And so, yeah, I mean, what you're saying is kind of, yes, that resonates with me. And do you have any story or anything related more with because we are writing a book about healing, and somehow diseases or symptoms or something that's somehow we felt, or any story that you have about a pain that somehow could change. You have in your story, or maybe when you started, or whatever was your context, that somehow you had something, and somehow you changed it.
I mean, I don't usually have a lot of physical pain, like I don't have stories like that. I'm very connected. My emotional body is the thing that affects me the most, I would say, or my energetic body. And I will say that probably a couple months after starting doing this work, I had a group of friends that we hadn't been friends that long, only 2 years, but we were so tight, like just really sisters. And long story short, there was an extremely painful breakup, and it was because of outwardly it looked like it was because of something that I did, a choice that I made, that one of the women decided to leave the group, and it broke up the whole group. And it was literally like losing my family. And I couldn't get out of bed. And I was just crying I can feel it now even. I couldn't function. And I was doing, I hadn't been in PM very long yet, so I didn't really know what to do in times like that. I had done 2 ETBs at that point. So I called, I had done like some quantum healing therapies and things like that that I had been using before. And it wasn't really doing anything. Bach flower remedies too, which I absolutely love, and wasn't quite, again, doing it. So I called Jennifer Dominguez and told her what was going on, and she recommended an emotional healing process. And she set me up on a virtual with this amazing trainer, also Amanda Killian. And I did my first emotional healing process in my car outside of, like, down the street of my house. And when I was done with that, I mean, there was at least, I always say, like a 60% shift in how I felt. I mean, I was at 0. I was at like nothing, non-functioning. And after that process, I was able to function much better. And yeah, like regained probably 60% of my like capacity to function. And that really blew my mind, like just blew my mind. And I was like, what is this? And I need to do this more, and I need to share this with people. And yeah. So there's that. And then there's also my partner and I were having a very difficult time. We had for many years, and then with COVID, everything kind of, hit the fan. We were not seeing eye to eye about things regarding COVID, and long story short, I completely lost it one day, and I said, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he had asked me if my partner asked me if after things calmed down a bit, if I would do like a few sessions with a therapist. Because even if we did get divorced, we still had our children, and we would still have to figure out how to, collaborate somehow. So I agreed, but I didn't want to see a regular therapist, and I suggested Patricio Diaz, and I thought, maybe he'll say yes because it's a man. And he did. He said yes. And so for like the next, I don't know, year, we had 2 to 4 sessions with Patricio Diaz, like almost weekly, for what felt like a year or so, maybe on and off, but mostly on. And that was the hardest work I've ever done. I mean, it makes the lab seem like a cakewalk, to be just you and your partner who knows all of your shit, and and an amazing trainer that just sees right through all the bullshit and will just show you everything that he was showing me everything that I was doing, and obviously he did that for Vic too, and it was so painful. It was so painful, and because it was so painful, it was so incredibly transformative and helpful. And my partner and I are together today, and I'm very much in love, and we've used some other tools also, but this was the foundation. This like year with Patricio was absolutely the foundation, because it's not fluff. It's like everything else to me is just kind of out there, and we were here like excavating the shit, and bringing it to the light. And if you don't excavate the shit, like, I'm sorry, it's just not, it's not a full experience. Like, the shit is part of the wholeness. And yeah, maybe that's how, now that I'm saying this, like, that's what I felt before. It's like I was just doing things that were like about the light, and I wasn't getting into the dark. And so it's incomplete and not grounded.
Yeah, and this is really, really important because, if you don't, like you said, if you don't go and connect and see your shit, I mean, you cannot connect also 100% to your light, because it's all you. Yeah.
And at that same token, I would say, and this is like kind of where the trap that I fell into was that I kind of got too comfortable in the shit. And then I was just only in that dark place, right? And thinking like, oh, that's only me, and I I didn't want to be in like the love and light, thing and just joy. And so now I'm like in this process of integrating both and being in both, but it feels like in a very authentic way. So now, my joy feels authentic. Like, if I don't know, if I am up here, it feels real. It feels authentic, because I'm also okay to be down here in the underworld. And I also know I don't have to just be in the underworld, so yeah, so I wanted to put that out there. It's not one or the other. It's, it's all of it. It's the whole.
Yeah. So anything else you want to say or to share with these people who will hear you or read this story about yourself? I mean,
yeah.
Any statement, anything that, okay, go.
I wanted to actually mention the constellation that we did last time, because I haven't really told you the things that have happened then, because we haven't met. And I didn't want to leave a voice note. So I don't even remember what we went into with that. I think it was like this thing of like needing to, I always have this thing inside of me that I need to do. And it's like a motor inside. And even if I'm relaxing and I don't have a lot to do on the outside, it just feels like on the inside, there's so much happening. And somehow like this really, what came up in the constellation was like really a lot of, that's what I remember. I guess there was a lot of stuff from my mom's side, but I remember like a lot of things for whatever reason, it's more memorable, the things that I learned from my father's side, which is interesting. But anyway, after that constellation, like I just noticed my children were just lighter and happier and just more relaxed. And I really noticed this repair happening in my relationship with my father. And this repair was happening even with my daughter, because I get really triggered by my dad, and so does my daughter. And it's almost like this disgust and just this repulsion with my father. And, she's gotten that from me also, or whatever. So somehow after this constellation, that just like poof, disappeared. And I told her, that I had been feeling much closer to my father and that he wasn't annoying me as much. And she was like, me too, Mom. I was feeling that also. And I also told her, I don't know how much longer he's going to be here, because I've been having this sense that, I don't know, that his time is running out, even though I don't have any logical reason for that. And I said, I really want to spend more time with him. I'm going to be inviting him over more, and I want to, and so I just see like it's just easier for her to have a better relationship with him. And yeah, there just feels like there's this really big repair happening in the relationship with my father. And more love. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. I really like this job, these things, these tools, these ways of healing. So yeah. Cool. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, or we can just finish it?
I do want to say something else, and this is very fresh, but I want to share it. I sort of, I've been very much yearning for a relationship with God. And I sort of came out of the closet with my family about that in last fall or winter. Well, yeah, fall. But I was still like figuring out how a relationship with God would look like for me, and how that would affect my work. And I am still figuring it out. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to say that, with everything that, even with everything that I've done, and possibility management and different healing modalities, that, like there was still something missing And I feel like I'm finding this connection to this missing thing, and like how to bring it into my work and the tools that I already have. And, you know, even these drawings that I was showing you, these neurographic drawings, like it feels like it's something that I'm channeling, that I'm receiving from the Creator, from God. And the reason, the reason I want to mention this is because, you know, a lot of us really like the healing path, and, you know, really into it, and nobody has to force us to do the work, but it's a lot of work. And I think it can be overwhelming, and I don't think we're supposed to be doing it alone. And I think, you know, that force that can handle it, you know, like that no other human can take that on, you know, but there's, you know, the Creator or God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, that can handle anything. And so, yeah, I've even started using my connection with God for even parenting my little girl, for example. Like, it always felt like too much for me to be doing that on my own. It's like, okay, but I'm still learning, and I felt like I'm supposed to be perfect for her, for that little girl. But now I'm realizing I don't need to parent her alone. You know, I have support too, and she has support too, other than me. So, yeah, it just feels less overwhelming and just more right. You know, it's like another part of this wholeness.
Mhm. Yeah, that's resonates also with me. This, but this is my story. It's not your story. So thank you. And something is BBB. Thank you, Nicole, for telling us about some stories that you have about your transformation, evolution, and healing. And and we are all here together as a team, like you said, on this path. So we will see you again.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I will stop the recording now. Thank you, Nicole.
Okay.